Growing up during the Depression influenced his economic and political views. In the shadow of the Great Depression, Paul Samuelson placed the really interesting and vital problems of overall economic policy, notably persistent unemployment, at the front of his introductory text. He said, "I did not throw out my education lightly, but what I was being taught was of no use in explaining what I saw around me. It was the Great Depression. In 1 year, there were virtually no housing sales in all of Chicago. Model A Keynesianism really fitted what was going on pretty well. It was the best will in town, so you use it to explain what was happening." Keynes' contribution was not just to advocate spending government money in the middle of a recession. Every government had done that going back to the days of the Irish potato famine. What he gave to us was a way of thinking about the magnitude, the dimensions, and so forth. Samuelson was born in Gary, Indiana on May 15, 1950. He died on December 13, 2009, Belmont, Massachusetts, USA. In 1923, Samuelson moved to Chicago, where he graduated from Hyde Park High School. He then studied at the University of Chicago at age 16 and received his Bachelor of Arts degree there in 1935. He had not finished his academic studies when he was already the prodigy of the American economy. He completed his undergraduate studies at the University of Chicago, where even before having obtained his first degree, he was already attending as a student the famous doctoral course on price theory that Jacob Wiener taught at that university, and that caused tears and crackling in the eyes of teeth among not a few of the enrolled students. "I was born as an economist on January 2, 1932, said Samuelson. That was the day he heard his first college lecture on Thomas Malthus, the 18th century British economist who studied the relation between poverty and population growth. Hooked, he began taking economics courses. From Chicago, he went on in 1935 to graduate school in economics at Harvard, where he encountered the now legendary figures of Joseph Schumpeter and Vasily Leontiev. His talent was soon recognized, and he presented his doctor's thesis at Harvard in 1941. In 1940, he was already an assistant professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. At the following year, he presented his doctoral thesis, which will form the basis of what he has been perhaps his most important book from the point of view of research, his Fundamentals of Economic Analysis. He served as an advisor to both John F. Kennedy and Lyndon B. Johnson. Throughout his very successful career, Samuelson explained economics to many, but most notably to John F. Kennedy. Quote, "My most important hour was when I was his economic advisor," he said. "I'm happy to look back on the fact that before he was assassinated, we did get the country moving again economically. We did bring a recession to an end." End of quote. Although he owes most of his popularity to his famous introductory manual on economics, Paul Samuelson's professional prestige is based on the numerous contributions he has made to every diverse fields on economic theory, which make it possible to affirm without any doubt that very few economists have contributed to the formation and modernization of their science to a similar degree. If we consider the well-known definition of economic analysis, according to which it consists of the study of the scientific aspects of economic thought, it is evident that Samuelson perfectly represents this way of approaching the problems. Perhaps of our more discipline. Than anyone else, Paul A. Samuelson has personified mainstream economics in the second half of the 20th century. The writer of the most successful principles textbook ever, 1948, Paul Samuelson has been not unjustly considered the incarnation of the economics establishment, and as a result has been both lauded and vilified for virtually everything right and wrong about it. Samuelson's most famous piece of work, Foundations of Economic Analysis, is one of the grandest tomes that helped revive neoclassical economics and launch the era of the mathematization of economics. Samuelson was one of the progenitors of the Paretian revival in microeconomics and the neo-Keynesian synthesis in macroeconomics during the post-war period. But before publishing his thesis, he had to go through the doctoral exams, common in the most prestigious North American universities. On the panel that formed the Harvard Economics Department to qualify the candidates was Joseph Schumpeter, the great Austrian economist, who had held a chair at that university since 1932. It seems that Samuelson's examination was of extraordinary brilliance, and the young economist impressed the department's professors so much that after the debate with the candidate was over, Schumpeter began the deliberation in court and turned to Leontiev and asked, "Well, Vasily, have we passed?" Other version says Schumpeter looked at his colleagues with the following question: "Could we approve?" In another story, Samuelson himself once said, "Once I asked my friend the statistician Harold Freeman, 'Harold, if the devil came to you with the bargain that in exchange for your immortal soul he'd give you a brilliant theorem, would you do it?' 'No,' he replied, 'but I will for an inequality.' I like that answer."